I've been meaning for a very long time to make this video, but today I'm getting my racket strung at a crazy loose tension of 9 kilograms or 20 pounds. To put that into perspective, I normally have my racket strung at 54 pounds or 24.5-ish kilograms. So I'm halving my string tension for experimental purposes, and I'm gonna solely use this string tension for an entire week of coaching and playing, and I'm gonna take you along with me. Let's go. Now, I've been wanting to do this experiment for a very long time. As some of you may have seen a video that I made recently talking about Adrian Mannarino's string tension. One thing you might know about Adrian Mannarino is that his racket is strung at a crazy low tension, somewhere between 9 and 11 kilograms, which to most would feel like playing with a trampoline, but for Adrian it works, and here's why. Number one, he hits relatively slow. In fact, his ground strokes are the third slowest in the ATP Top 100. His loose strings help him to send the ball deep despite this. If his strings were tight, his shots would probably not reach the net. And equally, if a big hitter were to use his low tension, they'd spray balls all over the place. Number two, he has the flattest ground strokes on the tour, with roughly 35% less revolutions per minute than the tour average on both his forehand and backhand sides. This also allows him to hit deeper than his opponents without having to swing fast. But a byproduct of his loose tension and lack of spin is that Adrian has to hit the ball lower over the net than the other players on the tour to stop it from ballooning long. You can see that he hits 9 centimeters lower than the tour average on both sides. Now, Adrian is one of the best in the world when it comes to control and touch, and uses his skills and loose string bed to absorb and redirect his opponent's shots with great depth and accuracy. And although I don't recommend his string setup and style of play to you, it's a great example of how your strings and game style should complement each other. I just thought it would be really interesting to see how I got on with it. Now, if I were to keep my normal swings, normal swing size and normal swing speed, I'm pretty sure that I would be ballooning all of my shots far long and over the fence. However, what I was really interested in seeing is the positive impact that having a very loose tension would have. And so what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to talk you through everything that I feel when using this string tension, from what it's like when feeding the ball in when I'm coaching, to what it's like when I'm hitting the ball at full speed, and when I'm hitting shots like serves and volleys, and how it differs in certain scenarios, because I'm pretty certain that it will help some parts of my game, but I also imagine it's going to be incredibly difficult. And so what I'm doing now is I'm taking out my old strings, and I'm going to take this racket in to see my friend Paul. Now, some of you have seen Paul before, as I've made a few videos with him, but Paul is the head stringer at Wimbledon and travels around the world stringing rackets for the pros. So there's no better man to do this string job for me. But I would imagine it's quite different stringing a racket at 9 kilograms. So let's go see him now. Do you know what string Mannarino uses or not?
Yeah,
oh, he does. Oh, perfect.
he uses 130.
We're going to be stringing up with Luxilon Alu Power 125. I've actually been using this strung at 54 pounds in my other head speed legend. So Paul has now got it on the machine at a crazy low 9 kilograms. Is it challenging to string that loose?
Can be a little bit, because particularly weaving, there's no resistance. So you'll be able to see how much it bounces compared to your normal tension.
Have you strung for Mannarino before?
Yeah.
He kind of goes between, I mean, we're going for 9, but he tends to be a little bit closer to 10, 11, doesn't he, most of the time?
Yeah, at the moment he's more 10 or thereabouts. He will do 10, 10.2, 10.5, 10.7.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I think you told me, was it Daniel Nestor that's pretty low as well?
Yeah, so last time I strung for Daniel Nestor, given that he has retired now, the lowest I strung was 13 pounds.
Oh. So to put that into perspective, we're stringing at 9 kilograms, which is roughly 20 pounds, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
So that's got to be nearer to 7 kilograms or something like that. My maths is probably a bit off there, but
yeah, it's something like that.
Can I just pluck a string? Oh. Ooh. Play the guitar with that.
You can see how there's just no resistance.
So just quickly, before we get to the last string, Paul just mentioned to me something very, very interesting about Mannarino's request. So obviously he has his racket strung generally at maybe 10.5 kilograms, but what does he do on the last string, Paul?
He normally goes up. He has known to go up to like 25 kilos just on the last cross.
So just on the very last string to be pulled, he increases the tension to a big 25 kilograms. What's the reasoning behind that?
He says it's to help hold his dampener in place, because if it's too low tension on the cross, it just won't hold it in place as well.
Just too much movement.
Yeah, and it pings off.
Interesting.
So much string movement, it's crazy. Hardly takes anything to move it.
Okay, Paul's getting his little gizmo out. What's this called?
An ERT.
And it measures the dynamic tension, you say?
Correct.
Is it so low that it doesn't get a reading?
No, we get a reading. 20.
So 20 DT, what does that mean?
That's our figure that we will use to compare it. So once you've done your experiment for the week, we can have a look and see how much it has or hasn't dropped. And just showing, we have a reference guide here, reference disc, and that number is so low that it's not even on here.
It's off the charts.
It's off the charts.
Like my forehand later.
Yeah.
So, got both of my Speed Pro Legends. See if you can guess which one is the 9 kilograms. Literally, I don't know if you can see. Let's see how it goes on the tennis court. So it's the morning after a long day on court using these strings, and honestly, I loved it. Now, yes, I was pretty prepared for what it was going to feel like. I knew that I was going to be hitting the ball further than I normally do with the same swing, and I knew that I would have to change my swing slightly to be able to keep the ball in play, and it honestly felt beautiful to coach with. Now, I didn't hit my serve at full speed. I wasn't ripping forehands, as most of my players that I was working with were juniors yesterday. So today will be interesting, as I've got a few more sessions where I'm going to be able to hit full out. So yeah, I'll let you know how that goes. So in my last check-in, I was telling you how much I enjoyed the tension, but the honeymoon period is now over. Yeah, yesterday I went for my shots a bit more. I had a chance to go big on my serve, rip some forehands, and it was difficult to say the least. A lot of my balls went long. When I was ripping forehands, the ball tended to spray a bit, but by the end of the day, I reined things in, and I would say I was hitting pretty well, but at 70% of my normal swing speed, but still getting pretty similar results. The interesting thing is it didn't feel that great on my strings compared to how it felt the day before when I was doing a lot of feeding and gentle hitting. On that day, I was probably timing the ball perfectly on the sweet spot, which is why it felt good. But when I was going for my full speed, I was sometimes hitting slightly off center, and it kind of gave this kind of dead twang feel, almost like you're using one of those cheap aluminium rackets that you get given in PE at school. But I'm going to persevere with it. Again, tomorrow I'm going to put it through its paces, going big with my shots. And what I'm actually going to do is do a bit of a serve accuracy test where I try to hit my bigger serves at some targets. I'll do the same test with my other racket that's strung at 54 pounds. And so yes, a big tick for power, but a big cross for me right now when it comes to accuracy. But let's see what tomorrow brings. So you just hit 3 serves with it. What does it feel like?
It feels really like soft and light when you hit the ball.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy to get power.
Yeah.
C'est le son d'un, souvent on dit d'un filet de pêche. C'est une raquette qui est vraiment pas très tendue. Je pense que je suis un des joueurs qui tend le moins sur le circuit. Celle-là en l'occurrence, elle est tendue à 9,5. J'oscille un petit peu entre, on va dire, 9 et 11 kg. J'ai commencé un peu comme tout le monde au-dessus de 20 kg. Et au fil des années, je suis descendu. Non pas que j'aime ça, mais je pense que c'est quelque chose qui convient bien à mon jeu. Et malheureusement, quand j'essaie de remonter un petit peu, quand je manque de confiance ou de sensation, bah, j'y arrive pas. Je prends le bas du filet. On me dit souvent que c'est quelque chose d'incroyable de jouer à cette tension-là, mais pour moi, c'est juste voilà, ce qui me convient le mieux. Et c'est pas une fierté, c'est juste que voilà, quand je vais sur le terrain, j'ai envie de gagner. Et ce qui m'aidera le plus à gagner un match, c'est de jouer à cette tension. Plus la raquette est détendue, plus il y aura un effet, on va dire, trampoline, quoi. La balle s'enfonce dans le cordage et elle repart un petit peu plus vite. Ce qu'il y a, c'est que le trampoline, il faut réussir à le contrôler. C'est vrai que la balle, elle a tendance à partir un peu plus vite du cordage. Du coup, si on n'arrive pas trop à régler avec la main, c'est vrai que la balle nous échappe assez facilement. Plus la raquette est détendue, je pense être un joueur qui est un petit peu plus en sensation, j'arrive un petit peu plus à gérer tout ça et d'un autre côté, je manque de puissance. C'est un petit mélange qui me convient bien et c'est vrai que moi si je tends un petit peu plus, bah, la balle part moins du cordage, du coup j'ai tendance à forcer un petit peu plus et finalement ça fonctionne encore moins bien. Pour avoir un petit peu de rendement, pour avoir une balle qui part vite, il faut garder beaucoup de relâchement et c'est vrai que cette tension me permet de garder tout ça. J'ai eu des entraîneurs qui me disaient quand je jouais mal, quand il y avait une mauvaise session, ils avaient tendance à me dire ouais mais regarde ta raquette n'est pas assez tendue, il faut que tu en remettes un petit peu. Après moi ça allait à l'inverse de mes sensations. Je tendais aux alentours de 21, 22 kg, même 23 kg. Et je me souviens avoir fait cette remarque à mon entraîneur de l'époque, lui dire non mais je ne vais pas passer sous les 20 kg, c'est impossible. Et avec le temps c'est assez marrant parce que quelques années après j'en suis arrivé à 10 kg. Mais c'est vrai que c'est quelque chose qui s'est fait petit à petit. Voilà, si on m'avait dit ça à l'époque, j'aurais jamais cru et comme quoi.
Go. Come on, come on, come on. Got to get that racket to dip a little bit lower. Get underneath it. Yes. How does it feel?
Super soft.
Really soft, isn't it?
Very soft. Lots of speed, but no control.
Yeah. What does it feel like?
Pingy.
Pingy. What does it feel like to you?
Just like totally out of control.
Good serving.
Interesting. It is pingy.
Yeah.
But you can still get power from
Yeah.
it.
Olaf wants another one. Here we go. Look at the depth. She's in, she's in, she's in. So it's been a few days using this loose tension and I've told you some of my thoughts and feelings behind what it's like to hit with and coach with, but I wanted to put some numbers and data behind it. So I've switched on our smart court. We use a Wingfield court at the club, which is going to allow me to measure my serve speed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 10 serves with my low tension, 9 kilograms, and then I'm going to hit 10 serves with my usual tension, 24 kilograms. And we're going to see which one really gives me the most power, but also the most control. We're going to look at a little heat map of where my serves have landed. Let's give it a go. So honestly, that felt pretty hard on my arm. This is the first time that I've used my normal tension in a few days. It does feel like I'm getting more power when I'm going big on my serve, but I don't know whether that's just because I can really feel the impact. But now, same tension, but I'm gonna go down the T for 5. Let's see. Directionally pretty good, but I'm definitely hitting lower than I have been with my loose tension. I think that 9 kilo racket definitely gives me a higher launch angle. So, although I only hit 5 serves wide and 5 serves T, I was definitely hitting the net far more often than I would normally. Yeah, just the case, I think that the launch angle of that looser tension is definitely higher. So going back to this tight string setup was fairly challenging, but it did feel like I was hitting the ball harder. However, it might just be because I could really feel the impact on the strings, whereas this looser tension has been a dream when it comes to low impact feel. But yeah, we're gonna go wide for 5 serves using the loose strings. I'd be interested to see if these are any faster. I'm not going to talk too soon, but accuracy is pretty good. I've only hit 3 though. Oh, that's a shame. Nearly a perfect round. Interestingly, maybe because I'm not feeling as much impact, but they felt slower and actually more controlled than with my higher tension, which is completely opposite to how it's felt when I've been hitting at a slower pace. My only theory here is maybe the looser tension is absorbing some of that ball speed and actually slowing it down, giving it more control. Let's see how the tee serves go. Normally this is my favorite serve. I just feel that I can hit it a little bit bigger, going over the lower part of the net and aiming straight rather than wide. But yeah, let's see how it goes with these loose strings. That felt pretty good. It's a very, very different sensation, but it's really difficult to say whether it's faster or slower than the tighter strings. It just feels very, very different. That was a pretty good serve. I think I'm trying to overcompensate by aiming lower over the net. Let's just try and hit your normal serve. Good direction, but long, I think. One more. Pretty good. Okay, let's see the stats. So just check the data and it was really, really interesting. So when I hit my wide serves with the tighter tension, my average speed of serve was 89 miles per hour, which is quite slow for me. And then when I went down the tee, it was 101 miles per hour, which I would say is probably more realistic. Now, I know I only hit 5 serves out wide and 5 serves down the tee, so it's not very scientific. And although I tried to hit my serve at the same racket head speed for all of them, there's bound to be some variance. But when I went onto my looser tension, my wide serves were 104 miles per hour on average, and my tee serves were 103. Now, of course, when we look at the first round of serves, I went straight into that tighter tension. That was a bit of a shock for me from what I've been used to for the last few days. I've actually been playing for 5 days with the looser tension, so I'd like to think that I wouldn't hit the net as often and my serve speed would probably be a bit quicker if I were to get more used to those strings. But let's disregard that one and count the 101 mile per hour serves down the tee. I gained an extra 2 to 3 miles per hour on average using the looser tension. However, it didn't feel like that. It felt to me as though the ball was traveling quite slowly, purely because I wasn't feeling that impact on the strings. Now, bearing in mind, we've gone from 24 kilograms with the tight tension to 9 kilograms, and it's only made a 2 miles per hour difference. And so when it comes to string tensions, you're not going to gain tons of power just by lowering your tension, but it will feel easier to achieve that power. What was more interesting to me though was actually my accuracy was pretty similar with both rackets. Now, that's probably not going to be the case for everybody. When you're changing between tensions, you're probably going to spray a lot of balls initially. I think I found accuracy okay because I've been playing with this loose tension for 5 days now. And also something to consider is they are serves, so the ball is static. I'm not having to deal with any different paces coming at me or spins. Whereas I know when I'm playing in match conditions and I'm receiving big serves at me or somebody ripping forehands, I'm going to have far less control. And so take the accuracy with a pinch of salt, but what it does show you is that you can get used to playing with any tension if you give it time.
Since testing my serves on the Wingfield court, I've had a couple more sessions and it got me thinking a bit about the speed differences between the two tensions. And I've come to the conclusion that if I'm hitting my 50% speed serve, when I'm hitting my serves to juniors or recreational players, I think that there would be a much bigger difference between the speeds. I'd get a lot more power or bang for my buck with the loose tension compared to the tighter string. However, when I go for my full power serves with the two tensions, the speeds and the outcomes are pretty similar. And I think there must be a threshold when it comes to tensions and how much power you get from the strings. And to an extent, I think partly because a loose tension absorbs some of the ball speed. So although it acts as that slingshot, at higher speeds, it's not quite as effective.
Sorry to jump in, but if you haven't got your hands on one of my tennis training decks yet, then you're missing out. I've put together all of my favorite training drills and focus cues to help you to get the most out of your training sessions. And I'm proud to say that although the deck has only been out for a couple of months, it's been sold in 55 different countries. And so far, the feedback from enthusiastic players and coaches is incredible. I'm pleased to say that worldwide shipping is now available. And so if you want to get your hands on the tennis training deck, I've put the link in the description below. Back to the video.
The challenging part for you is you're seeing me shaping up with like a small compact swing or swinging slowly. When you see me preparing like that, your brain is telling you that you're going to be receiving a slow ball and you've got time, and then all of a sudden it's on you and you're hitting it late. That's interesting. So we're just measuring the dynamic tension after a week of me ripping the ball. It was 20.
Are we going to get a reading?
And it's too low
It's not big enough.
for the reader. It just shows how big I was hitting my forehands pull, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. You put so much pressure on it. Stretching the strings so much.
So it's safe to say that it's gone from 9 kilograms to something well below that.
Oh, for sure.
So it's been a whole week of me playing with this racket, and my feelings have changed throughout, as you've heard. Now, on day one, I enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, it was a bit of a honeymoon period, which you get sometimes when you're trying something new and you're excited about it. Day 2 and 3, I didn't enjoy it as much. It felt quite twangy. It felt like when I was hitting off center that there were a lot of vibrations going through the racket. And I was spraying the balls, not really controlling them. And then day 4, 5, and 6, and to today, I've gradually enjoyed the racket more and more, and honestly I absolutely love it now. I do think that my game has changed. My swing is definitely much shorter and slower. I'm using the strings to full effect now, and I found that when my swing is slower, I'm getting a lot more power from this than I would if I was using a normal string tension. As you can see there, I'm shortening my swing and definitely still getting a decent amount of power and depth from it. But one thing I noticed is you can't just be relaxed and lazy, because if you catch it wrong, it flies. So yeah, short swings, but with intent. However, the interesting thing is if I hit at full speed with this and my normal 54 pounds string setup, I think I actually get a little bit more power from that. So although you do get a lot more power when you swing slowly, there is a limit to how much power you can get. I think what it is at those faster speeds, this really loose tension absorbs some of that ball speed, whereas the tighter tension just gives you that extra stiffness and resistance behind the ball to give it that pop. So I can understand why Mannarino loves it and uses it. It suits his game style perfectly with those short, compact, slow swings. He really gets the most out of it. So the interesting thing is on my backhand side, which tends to be my weaker shot when I'm hitting my double hander, I actually don't get a lot of natural racket head speed compared to my forehand. And so this string tension actually really helps me on that side. I find I'm actually hitting deeper and hitting with a little bit more pace than I normally would with that slower swing. So yeah, as far as my forehands go, I don't think I need a looser tension, but on the backhand side, it definitely helps. Another use case that I found works really well for me as a coach is actually for some of my players that struggle when it comes to their swing size. Maybe their swing size is too big, or they go too big with their shots. Simply giving them this racket and letting them hit with it for 5 minutes, they soon figure out that they need a more compact swing and they need to take a little bit of pace off it. And then going back to their other racket, all of a sudden their consistency has increased. And so I think I'm going to keep this racket strung at this low tension, for my own coaching, as it's a dream to feed with and just rally slowly with. But what I will say is I'm going to go back to my normal match playing tension with caution, because my body is so used to this string tension and not really feeling much impact at all when I'm striking the ball. I think it's going to be a bit of a shock for my wrist and my elbow going back to my 54 pounds racket. So I'm going to get Paul to string another racket up in between those two tensions, just so I can gradually go back into it, because I don't want to develop any problems on the back of it. And so my advice for you, if you're looking for a new string setup, is if you're planning on going looser or tighter, to do it gradually, but equally understand that it might feel great for day 1, but it might not feel very good for day 2, 3, and 4. But if it's something that you really want to do, maybe it's because you want to change your game style and play slightly more efficiently, then do it gradually over time. Even Adrian Mannarino, when he talks about his string tension, he used to play at 20, 21 kilos, and his coach was actually quite against him dropping down to 9 and 10 kilos. He did it gradually over time, and each time he dropped it, he loved it more and more until he found the sweet spot. And he admittedly said that if he went back to his old tension, he would hit the bottom of the net And so for a player of Mannarino's level, one of the best players in the world, to say that, it means that for you and I, we definitely need to take that gradual approach. And so, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I honestly absolutely loved experimenting for a week, and I might make some more videos in the future experimenting with other things. So let me know in the comments below if you have any ideas for those videos. But thanks as always for watching all the way through to the end. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.